Let's turn our focus to this now. 3 years later, a Durban family is still waiting to bury their loved ones who died in the 2022 floods due to DNA backlogs. The Ndlalose family have not found a closure as 4 relatives are still lying in a state mortuary. The KwaZulu-Natal Health Portfolio Committee recently visited mortuaries in the province and found that there were over 900 unclaimed bodies. We've now roped in Dr. Thakadu Mamashela, Chairperson of the National Forensic Pathology Services Committee, Department of Health. Sir, thank you so much for your time and good afternoon to you. So over 900 unclaimed bodies in state mortuaries is a staggering number, especially when you consider this is all just in KwaZulu-Natal. One can only imagine what that picture looks like nationally, Dr. Mamashela.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Unati, and good afternoon to you and to your viewers. You are right. This state of unclaimed bodies in our facilities across provinces remains a concern, because this is a matter that on a day-to-day basis. But it's quite important for me to highlight a couple of things so that everybody can understand the magnitude of the problem and some of the solutions that actually were put in place and some of the gains. Because if you recall, last year there was a figure of about more than 3,000 across the 9 provinces that was reported. And what we are talking about today, we are looking at about 2,200 bodies. That is the drastic drop from last year. But it's important for me to also highlight the fact that, remember, we are rendering a service every day. So each and every day, there are bodies that are declared unclaimed and unknown, and they accumulate in the facilities. But equally, there are bodies that are actually disposed in terms of burials. So the problem here, we are dealing with a problem that drivers of the status. You've got the high level of violence and trauma basically in our country generally, but you also have a problem of undocumented persons. So these bodies that are actually lying in our facilities, these are people that are unclaimed, meaning that systems in South Africa, or there are no families that are coming forth. So currently the national picture is exactly at 2,200 from the 3,000 that was reported last year. Now, when you talk about KwaZulu-Natal, for an example, because our committee, remember, is comprised of representatives from all provinces. Now, the current number actually is about 767. And this number, when the work that is continuing, and it must be emphasized that the teams at provincial levels are hard at work, and they're actually successful on various areas when it comes to this problem. This 767 will actually come down to 569 because there are plans in place, because there are processes that are involving stakeholders such as local authorities, which are municipalities, and South African police services. So the number in that province will come down to about 569 by the end of this month because of plans that the colleagues in that province have put in place.
Yeah, I mean, these are the numbers we understand from that oversight visit by the Portfolio Committee in the province. But let's stay with the province. We understand that some of these bodies may be those of flood victims from far back as 2017. Is that the case? I mean, what is the current size of the DNA backlog in the province? And how does that directly then affect body identification, as you've been saying that some of those could be undocumented persons in the country?
So if you want to zoom into a province, unfortunately, I may not give the nitty-gritty details of a province because I'm here on behalf from the national point of view. However, the situation, what we were informed by the colleagues, because we do interact, there are clear-cut reporting templates that the national department, the national office uses. I think it's something that we can verify in terms of the number of cases that are coming from the flood victims. But as far as we know, they do not report such from the list. But you do have challenges because, like I said, It's not the Department of Health sole responsibility. There are other stakeholders that are supposed to actually come on board.
Yeah, so you're saying that number from 3,000 to 2,200. I mean, we said in our intro that a family in Durban, presumably South African, of course, has been waiting for their loved one, since 2022. That's 3 years. When you speak about measures that are being taken, particularly you mentioned KwaZulu-Natal 767 becoming 569. Talk to us about those measures, particularly nationwide, in terms of, tracking DNA testing as also forensic investigations to relieve this pressure, because now we're sitting with families and morgues that are inundated, but also families that cannot lay their loved ones to rest.
So if you recall, like I'm saying, from last year, there were a series of intervention strategies, including the National Forensic Pathology Services role when it comes to this, by identifying where the bottlenecks were. The case at the end, particularly as a province, there's been a lot of successes there, and I can tell you they've buried more than 1,200 bodies since August last year, which were unclaimed and occupying facilities in that province. But there are other series of intervention strategies, particularly when it comes to local authorities. For an example, from the National Committee side, we have escalated some of the issues through our Deputy Minister, Dr. Joe Phaahla, who liaised with his counterpart from COCTA, that is Dr. Namane Masemola, who actually assigned an official from that level to interact with our committee, so that from there to the provincial level, the provinces can find solutions, and they are finding solutions. Most municipalities are actually coming on board. South African Police Services, they've been on board.
Yeah. Oh.
Problematic. They've been outlined and sorted out.
Yeah, not a very steady line, but very quickly as we wrap our conversation, Dr. Mamashela, you speak about bottlenecks. I mean, what are these? Is it additional resources, financial, technical? What is at the crux of the problem?
I think the two issues that I highlighted earlier on, they are the first things. The level of violence is one of the key issues, a societal issue. The trauma that we have, that is one of the major factors. When it comes to other factors, it talks to stakeholder engagements. The stakeholders are on board. It's a matter of interaction, resolving issues at different levels, local, provincial, national level. So there are those pockets of bottlenecks, but the undocumented persons in this country will remain a problem in our service, basically, because we are feeling the heat as well in our space as well, because if claim their beloved persons, that we will continue having as a country.
All right, Dr. Mamashela, let's leave it there for now. Unfortunately, not the best stable lines there. That is Dr. Thakadu Mamashela, Chairperson of the National Forensic Pathology Services Committee at the Department of Health.